So grateful to have Dr. Eddie Capparucci with us again. His content is always so amazing and helpful for those on the journey. I value his work. He's doing work groups for going deeper, the inner child work on our website, and why men struggle to love. He and his wife Terry wrote Going Deeper for Betrayed Partners. All great topics and conversations to have about this journey. So, what do you have for us today?
No, thank you, Tammy, for the kind words. I appreciate it. And thank you, everybody, for being here today. And for those of you who will be watching later on. Um, so what I'm going to be talking about today is this idea of, grieving the entire relationship. So let me explain. Some of the questions I get often is, why is it taking her so long to heal? Okay. Why is the healing, the emotions that she's experiencing, why are they so intense? It just seems relentless for what we're going through, and I don't see an end. The problem with that is that men, what it is they do not understand what their wives or partners really are grieving. It's not just the infidelity. Okay, there is a lot more that's involved. And part of that is because she's living on the pain field. Now, you heard me explain that a little bit before in the past, but and for those of you who may not be aware of it, let me give you a little bit more explanation. The pain field, as I termed it, is an emotional terrain that the betrayed partner endures. This is where they reside during their healing. And it's a place that's filled with despair, with fear, where healing just doesn't seem like it's going to be attainable. It just seems like will never come. And there really seems often to feel like there's no escape from this pain field. And these partners, they could spend years wandering back and forth. And they face what seems to be a very hopeless situation with no opportunity for healing. At least that's what it feels. So on this field, while they're there, what they're doing is they're seeking comfort from their spouses, looking for understanding and clarity regarding the infidelity that took place. And here, this is where the problem comes in. Betrayers, during a grieving dialogue, they flee the pain field. They leave, and they do that in many ways. They use their different coping strategies to do that. So therefore, they may become defensive. They may gaslight, lie, withdraw, maybe become aggressive. Okay, that's just a few of the ways they do it. And when this occurs, the betrayed partner, her inner child now becomes fearful and feels that she's being abandoned, or worse yet, maybe feels like she's being attacked. So now the emotions escalate and the situation becomes one that is sometimes dire. What the betrayer has done without knowing it has dumped fuel onto the fire in the attempt to leave the pain field. He's actually triggered, right? And that's a subject for another time, Tammy. Remind me about that, because we're going to go there. How the betrayer can also be triggered. And I think it's really important for us to be talking about that. Not that we're looking to make that person a victim, but so that people can better understand the dynamics of what's going on during this cycle. And better understanding all of the dynamics helps to be able to bring you to a place where healing is possible. So the thing is, for those who have betrayed, is to understand that on the pain field, there are many, many losses that are identified and grieve. And those losses go far beyond infidelity. What they're doing is they're grieving the entire relationship. The pain is much deeper and it crosses over into all areas of their lives. So to give you some examples, a woman who she's a mom, and now she finds herself distracted from giving her children, let's say she has smaller children, giving her children the attention that she did prior to D-Day. And that makes her feel guilty, right? This is another pain that she's dealing with, that I just can't find that clarity sometimes to give my kids what they need from me as a mother. And that happens in certain circumstances. Dates, events, venues, they get tainted, right? And why do they get tainted? Well, for example, like after the birth of your child, you leave the hospital and you went home and looked at porn. So here it is, your wife, she's in the hospital, just gave birth to a baby. It's such an exciting time. And then later, years later, she finds out that you went home and were watching pornography. That taints that birth. It taints that day. Perhaps she has a career, right? She has a career, and now D-Day comes and she can't focus. She's lost focus. She can't give everything she needs to give to that career or job, and therefore then makes her feel somewhat inadequate because of it. She has friends that she's avoiding, and she really can't, and the reason she's avoiding them because she can't feel comfortable around them because she's not sharing. And the reason she's not sharing because she's trying to protect you. So now when she's out there with friends and she's trying to put on the happy face, putting on the facade, it's very, very, it caused a lot of anxiety for her. And so therefore maybe she backs away from the friends, doesn't go out with them as often, doesn't communicate with them as often. Maybe there's favorite places that she loves to go that are now off limits because you went there with an affair partner. And now she can't bring herself to go back there. You know, and again, it's extremely troubling. It's something that brought her joy. It's something that excited her, and it's been tarnished. Going out in public now, it feels like other women are threats because of your wandering eye or porn use. So therefore now even being out is troubling and uncomfortable. So as you can see, like the infidelity has a lot of tentacles and it crosses over a lot of different areas that she thought were sacred. She thought she cherished those. She enjoyed those. They were memorable. And she thought it was all good until you pulled the rug out from underneath her. And so therefore today in her mind, it's all gone. Now, is that entirely true? Perhaps not. But that's what it feels. It feels that way. And that's what we have to focus on versus you trying to convince her otherwise. It has to be, no, this is what you feel today. Hopefully in the future, you'll feel differently. But today, that's what it is. And all those different scenarios I gave you, I know of women who have battled through all of those and did come out on the other side and was able to go back and enjoy some of these things that they did or put more effort and energy into kids, career, and such. So, but what happens is men, you're on the wrong field. Okay, you're on the infidelity field, while your partner is on this pain field that consists of far more than just your infidelity. But if you're going to stay there just thinking that, oh, she's just annoyed because I watched pornography or I went to a strip club or I had an affair partner, that's what she's upset about. And it's like you're missing a large portion of the picture. The picture is like this big and you're looking at that. And you need to open it up so that you look at the whole thing. Because if you don't, well, then you know what? You're not going to be able to give her and provide for her what she needs. Because for you, what's important is that you look for, and you've heard me say this, her true pain point. What is the pain point? And she may not even be aware of what that pain point is herself at the moment. All right. So therefore, now you're saying, well, how do I do that? How do I find a pain point that she may not be aware of? Good question. Well, first and foremost, you make the effort to be just present. You have to be present. That means we're putting everything away. We're just taking the time to sit with her. Now, what does that mean? Sit with her. Doesn't mean I just pull up a chair and I sit across from her or I sit next to her. Well, no, that's being present. Sitting with her means you are going to engage. It means that you're not going to be like leaning back, looking around the room, whatever it is. No, you're going to be leaning in and attentive. You're going to pay as close attention to her at that moment as you would if you were in a scenario where there was a person across from you. And if you understand where they're coming from and such, you're going to close on a $500,000 deal. Okay? Think about how attentive you would be at that moment. And that's what you're going to be. You're going to be curious. You're going to have curiosity. You're going to sit there and ask questions and probe so you can better understand what is that pain point. You are going to try to be empathetic. And in that sense, it's like, again, what's empathy? Empathy is I can understand where you feel. And sometimes you have to put yourself in their position. What would it be like if I was on the other side of this? What would I be feeling? And she's throwing these different scenarios at me. You have to go there. And then with that, though, you have to be cautious not to become shameful. Because once that happens, once you start to get shamed by all of this, you're going to shut down. And instead, you have to be, again, a sense of confidence that I can deliver what she needs. Now, that doesn't mean that, after she's done talking with you, that she's going to throw her arms around you and say, thank you so much. This was wonderful. I so much appreciate it. Not what you're going to get. And that's what we're not supposed to be doing. Oh, well, you know what? Look at me. I'm doing all this stuff. I'm staying present. I'm sitting with you. I'm being curious. I'm being empathetic. I'm not being shameful. I'm being confident. Do I get a gold star? No. No, you don't get a gold star. You don't, but you know what? You shouldn't need one. Because what you're doing is the right thing. That's what you're doing. The right thing. And that's what has to be done here. You need to be a friend who really cares. Because you know what? You haven't really been much of a friend. And there's many reasons for all of that. But you have to be a friend that really cares. You have to stay on the pain field. You have to be able to look for that pain point. You have to understand that what she's going through is much larger, more intense, and more hurtful than you could ever imagine. That's what I got for you today, Tammy.
So I was thinking about, like you have to do the right thing and be a friend that cares. And I was thinking that's what we're supposed to be in the first place. Like when we get into a long-term relationship, we
Right.
should be the person that cares. But I feel like this is such a foreign concept, for in addiction, it's all about me, 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 me. And like you said, you get into the shame and then all of a sudden it's still about me, 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 because I feel so bad for me. So I was thinking like it takes a willingness to remember that the goal is having a healthy relationship and that this isn't like a let's hurry up and fix this so we can kind of go back to making it easier. It should always be the goal to do the right thing and to show up for each other.
Yeah, we've talked about that how often, right? I mean, folks, what Tammy just said and hit upon, it is so important. It's like, what are we doing here? If it just that I want to beat you into submission about what you've done to me, if it that, you know what, I just can't tolerate any of this and therefore I got to try to turn it off and shut you down. No, it is supposed to be about healing and understanding so that we can come to a different place. And what does that understanding consist of? It goes back to what the whole inner child model was developed about. Why? Why did this happen in the first place? And then what you find out is that, oh, he has all these deep inner wounds that he gets triggered by and doesn't know. And therefore, he seeks comfort in doing things he shouldn't be doing. Again, not an excuse, but now you know. It's not about you. You did nothing wrong. You're not the problem. As I said, I could trade you out with any other woman in the world, and we still be in the same place. So therefore, don't you want to understand more about why he's wired the way he is? And then him understanding that, the fact that, okay, this is where I am, this is what he now is empowered to make great changes and then be able to love you the way he never could love you before. I can't tell you, Tammy, how many men I've worked with over the years, okay? They are sober, right? That inner child model, it worked for sobriety. They're sober, they got it. But they're not given a chance to love again. They're not given a chance again. And I get, I understand there's the fear. There's a great fear. Will this last? What I'm seeing, if it real? And then all of a sudden he messes up, he starts to get defensive about something, maybe he forgets to do something, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, see, you're just the same way you were. But that's not true. It's not accurate. He's not the same. Yes, did he make a mistake? He did. Not perfect. I'm not perfect. Find a perfect person. Find that perfect man. Find that perfect woman. Find them. Bring them to me. I'd love to see them. I'd like to find out how the hell they do it. None of us have it in us because we get so caught up in everything else in the world. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh, wait a second. I'm supposed to take my wife to lunch today and I scheduled 2 appointments in those time slots. Duh. Okay. Is she hurt? She's disappointed? Yes, she is. And rightfully so. She should be. I dropped the ball. I dropped the ball. I wasn't thinking about her at that moment and time because I didn't put it on my calendar. I should have, and I would have never written over it. We're not perfect, but I know there are many men I've worked with and still working with today who could love their wives very differently than they've ever been loved before, but they're just not getting the opportunity to do so. That's very sad.
For both of them. For
Oh,
both of them,
yeah,
you know.
absolutely. Because she deserves to be loved differently.
And I was thinking, I'm not perfect. My husband's not perfect. And I know for sure that we really, I'm going to cry. We really support each other to make each other the best that we possibly can be. We just celebrated an anniversary and I was like tearful thinking about like, I mean, we've been through a lot of not good stuff,
Right.
because that's life. And like the gift of having the opportunity to connect with this man in a real and meaningful way that I love. And he's got my back and
Yeah,
I've got his.
right. but again, what is marriage about? Too many people feel marriage is supposed to be making each other happy.
Oh,
That
yeah,
is
no.
not what marriage is. Marriage is help. Timmy, you're getting
I am really, yeah, no, I love my husband and we
that.
are
That
not
is,
perfect by any way. So yeah, yeah,
but that is beautiful. It's
yeah,
beautiful to see that. Um, but marriage is about helping each other grow mentally, emotionally, and spiritually.
yeah,
That's what it's. And that's how you say he has my back.
yeah, yeah.
And no, and that's the problem that with the people that we're dealing with now. Those
Hmm.
who've been betrayed, they don't feel like someone has their back.
Right. And he didn't have your back and,
That's right. He didn't.
but right.
But maybe he can now.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah. And also the fear, I know too many people that fear, just gets them stuck and they're so afraid of what could possibly happen. They're missing out on the good that could possibly happen if they were, and I've been burned by people, lots of people, and I have often said, yeah, it's painful, and I would rather be connected to people and get burned now and then than to be disconnected and living in my own little, plastic bubble that sure I'm safe, but I would be really bored if it was just me in my bubble.
Right.
There's no interaction with that. I was thinking too, you're talking about moments, and I was recently interacting with a pregnant mom, and her pregnancy is tainted by the discovery of all of these things, and I thought, yeah, this is so. First of all, it's supposed to be this nurturing time where you're taking care of you and baby, and you're like dealing with all of these other extraneous things, and you talked about like the mom with attention to kids, and I don't think it's occasionally or some of it. I think it's 100%. You cannot be a fully engaged parent if you have all of this stuff going on. We have a special drop-in group for betrayed partner professionals, mental health and medical professionals, because they're doing this job of working with other people and kind of have to compartmentalize because they need to show up for someone else,
Right.
and that's really hard. So it's difficult.
Where
All of
where
those
can
things.
where can people find out about that? Where can they find out about dropping?
That one is password protected. So we have, and they would have to email me, Tammy, TAMI at Seeking Integrity, either a link to their professional website or a pic of their professional license so that I have it, because we do keep that password protected. And while we're talking about it, we have a separate group for male addicts, same thing, that are professionals,
Mm,
because they need a safe place to talk about their stuff where their clients aren't,
right.
and separately a female addict. So we have three separate groups for professionals that are password protected. Everything else is on our website, under the drop-in group. So those are
Right.
all
Lots of great resources that this organization delivers. I do not work for this organization, but I'm telling you, they have
correct.
great, great resources. Don't hesitate to take advantage of them.
And we, yeah, and low cost work groups like Dr. Eddie's, fabulous. And that's just one of the many offerings we have. We have a new one I'm going to share. The Boundaries Work Group for Betrayed Partners is finally starting in April. We already have people signed up for it. Debbie McRae is the queen of boundaries, and she'll be really able to help you with your individual thing. And I want to talk, Angela Spearman just did resentments on a 2-part webinar, and she clarified for betrayed partners that it isn't just teaching at you with her work group. She says, I spend about a half an hour talking about the topic, and then we spend about an hour answering questions and helping people navigate. So if you have a perception about what the work groups are, I bet it wasn't that. And I would really invite you to do that for your help. It's not therapy, it's not treatment, but all of the facilitators like Dr. Eddie are there to help provide information and support and guidance, on this challenging path. So, okay, my unfaithful partner is now really different and very caring and kind to me. This is all new to me, and I have questions about that when we are apart for a few days, maybe, and we keep in touch as in all as well. But when we were separate for a few days, when he had a discussion or disagreement, I start to feel anxious, restless, and I cannot do or think about anything. For him, it's the same. When we speak on the phone or see each other again, slowly I come back to myself and feel calm again. Is this what people call healthy attachment?
It, it, there is a healthiness to it, because what's happening is, again, go back to what you said. He very different. He's very different now because he's kind and caring, which means that before he wasn't so much. You're seeing that when you're together. When you're apart, okay, your anxiousness starts to build up, right? And that's what we call it an anxious attachment that's there. And there's a fear. There's a fear that your little girl has, like, oh my gosh, will we reconnect again? You know, and again, you gotta remember, it's through the eyes of a child. And so therefore it's not always realistic. I think what you need to do here is that you're it sounds like you guys have to be separated, I guess, for some reason, whether it's work or whatever, is that just making sure that before you separate, that you're spending the time talking about and making a plan on what are we going to do to connect while we're not together. How are we going to do that? This way we both, because you said he feels the same way too. There's a restlessness that's there. And again, it's okay for that, but it's not really needed if you get to a point where you feel like, oh, wow, they're going to be there for me. They're just a phone call away, they're a text away. You know what? It will be fine. So I would start planning a little bit more on how are we going to engage during those breaks.
Well, and it says, and we had a discussion or disagreement, and I'm going re, like resolve the disagreement, like get a plan to resolve the disagreement,
Right,
or
right.
it's like we don't say get into a deeper conversations at 10 o'clock at night when everybody's tired or whatever. It's like it's okay to go. We're going to set that aside. We're gonna like that's important, and we're going to talk about it. But in this moment when we have a forced separation for work or whatever, we're going to hold on to that, and we're going to journal about it. We're going to think about it so that when we have the opportunity to
Yeah,
converse about it,
right.
we're going to have a plan. But yeah, I love Dr. Eddie's like, have a plan for when you go, because being that dysregulated for both of you in that separation, is not optimal either. Okay to want to see each other again and be excited about that, but what can you do that will be meaningful touch points, during that
Yeah,
separation
to
time.
lower the anxiety.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. The next one, you talked about male female relationships, but is there a difference for male betrayed partners married to a man for a very long
Right.
term?
Yeah, and I've mentioned this numerous times. I talk about male, female, just to make it easier versus
Yeah.
I keep going back and forth. We
Yes.
are very aware and have worked with people, with men who have been betrayed also. No, there is no, Bobby, there's no difference. There's no difference. If you've been betrayed and you're a man and you're in a relationship with a man, it hurts the same. You go through the same experience that a woman goes through who has been betrayed also. Or if you're a female who's in a relationship with a female and you've been betrayed. There's nothing that's different in any of those. It's the same pain that everyone feels, a sense of abandonment, a
Hmm.
sense of betrayal, the sense of, the fact this being deceived, having your world torn apart, feeling that things are not what you thought they were. So yes, and again, my heart goes out to you for what you're going through, but what your experience is the same as anyone else would experience.
Hurt hurts, it
Right.
hurts. Yeah. And I put, so, at Seeking Integrity, we have a drop-in group for male partners on Tuesday nights. That's the only one that is for men only. Separately, the Sunday night is mixed gender, and the online work group for betrayed partners is mixed gender. And so, male partners are invited, to any of those free resources. Well, the work groups are not free, but the drop-in groups and webinars are all free. So please do
Right.
participate in those. Yeah.
And also in the recent book that that Terry and I wrote about for betrayed partners, we have both male and female partners who've been betrayed. We don't just it's not all giving examples of you know females who've been betrayed. We also talk about the male betrayed partner.
And I'm with Dr. Eddie, like trying to use all the different pronouns. I would get so confused. I wouldn't even know who I was talking about. So yes, on the webinars, though we typically use male addict, female partner, it's like if you're a partner, you're hurt. If you're an addict, you've got problematic behaviors that are hurtful to you and everyone else, and we want to help. So okay, the next one is I am the addict, sober 16 months now since leaving Sila, and who betrayed my wife for over 30 years. She is so hurt and disgusted by me. I truly wonder why we should go through all this. I broke our relationship into a million pieces. Why try to glue that back together? She loved who she thought I was, but now knows me and is pretty disgusted. Why don't we just split and let her upgrade to a better partner who is not an addict who lied to her for over 30 years and psychologically abused her in the process? All these talks seem to assume it is best for her to stay with me. In this case, I seriously doubt it.
Well, what I'm seeing here, Bud, is this is somebody who is trying to justify walking away, trying to justify running away. You know what? I don't know why she'd want to be with me. You know what? We should just end this and be done versus, you know what? Let me make every single effort possible to see if I can win her heart back. And how do you win her heart back? Well, first and foremost, by letting her know or letting her see that you're safe. Okay, now you've been sober for 16 months. Congratulations, that's great. It's 16 months. You betrayed her for over 30 years. All right, she needs more time for all of this. But if you're going to have this attitude where it's like, I don't even know why you're here. This is crazy. Why don't we should just give up. This is more of you. This is more about you than it is her. You write it as though it's about her, but it's not. It's about you because that would be the easy way out. Now, I'm not doubting your sincerity in the fact that you feel awful that you hurt her. I'm not doubting the fact that you think in a way that, oh, maybe she does, deserve someone else. But your shame has just taken over. And with that, there will be no healing. So I'd be working with your therapist, and I hope you're still working with a therapist after just 16 months, to be able to say, hey, you know what? I need to build my confidence up that, you know what? Even though I was that way, I am no longer that man. And I want to show her the man I am and that I'll continue to grow into. And maybe she'll want that man. Now, maybe she won't, but that's not your decision to make, it's hers. And you're sitting here and you're trying to make it for her. And again, I think the reason you're doing it is a very internal, inward decision, because again, it'd be easier just to say, hey, I wanted to, I tried, she doesn't want it, she's better off anyway, and exit stage left. So that's why I'd be working on your self-worth, your self-esteem, building up your confidence so that you can present to her the man that she may be looking for.
Yeah, I'm with you. I was thinking, oh, this is like, oh, yeah, I'm going to do her a favor by just letting her go so she can go find Prince Charming. Well, first of all, there's no, of a certain age, Prince Charmings that don't have a whole lot of baggage that come with them anyway. So, yeah, I mean, but here's the other thing. At 16 months of not acting out, and you say sober, and I believe that you're working towards that, and that's good. Just not acting out is abstinence. And if you are following your care plan and you're consistently doing 12-step and these groups and all of that, great. And we say all the time that recovery takes 2 to 5 years. So you are you are on a path, but you are not there yet. And partners are behind you because they've been they've been blindsided all of these years. So she literally has 16 months of knowing, and then, or however long, maybe she knew a little bit before you came to treatment, but and her healing, like all of the things that Dr. Eddie started out with, like everything, you're questioning everything she's got 30 years to think about all of this and going like, was that real? So give her some space. And I hope and pray you are not going, well, you should just leave me because like then you can go off because then you're then you're verbally throwing in the towel. If your attitude is even that way, that you're going like, well, it's like recovery work is so hard. What are you showing her? Just like Eddie said, what are your actions showing her that I'm going to do what I need to do. If you choose to leave, that's entirely your choice. But I'm going to show up and show you that I'm all in each and every day. I'm doing the best that I can for my recovery and hopefully for our relationship. That's a way different thing than, well, she should just, that is, I'm going to say self-centered of like, well, it's just easier if, I'm going to free her so she can go off, she,
Mm.
even if she leaves you, guess what? She's still going to get stuck with having to do all of the painful work of
Right.
grieving the loss of the relationship. It's not just truncating the relationship and poof, now I'm magically healed. She will still have to do all of her healing work. So there's no magic fix to all of this type of
Right.
thing. I just encourage you to lean in harder and really do your work.
I
So
want to say one last thing.
please.
If you have no feelings for this woman, and you don't love this woman, don't lean in harder.
Yeah, well, that's fair.
You
Yeah.
know what? You know what? Let her go.
Yeah.
If you're speaking from yourself that, you know what, I really hope she does let me go because I don't want to be back in it. If I don't want to deal with this, then you know what? Be a man and tell her and do it instead of keeping dragging her along with all this.
And making her make the choice.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah. Yeah. And I put, should I stay or should I go? There's a series of 4 webinars that we, talk through the various process, and that has been very helpful for lots of people. So check out that resource as well. Okay, the next one. One of the effects of my watching porn has been my wife's body image has been destroyed. Can you address this particular issue and advise me on how I can help her?
This is not uncommon, and it's not only just with porn, but it's with almost everything in the field where a woman's self-worth is diminished, sometimes crushed, and that's what it sounds like in this situation, because now it's like this sense of comparison, because she has in her mind that you want something different. You want somebody different. For you in this circumstance, and this is a very slow build. This is not something that happens overnight. You just have to make sure that you are continuously making her feel as though she is the priority in your life. You have to continuously make her feel as though she is desired and wanted. Now, again, you might be in a place now where she's like, don't touch me, I don't want you to. That's fine. You don't have to do it that way. All right. But you have to make sure by paying attention, by seeking her out, by trying to engage with her as much as possible. Again, I'll go back to my last comment before, as I ended with, what I was talking about was a friend. Be the friend for her. Now, I mean, sitting here and saying again, if she is, let's say she has a weight problem, to say, oh no, you really look thin. If I don't lie, and we're not lying about anything, okay? It's just, if you're not troubled by it, then you show it. You show it. But again, it is a slow build. It takes time because again, she has it in her head. You want something else.
Yeah, and I'm putting um oh, I'm trying to get there. I'm putting the link in. So I went and looked for it on November 7th of last year. Debbie Allen hosted a webinar with a female betrayed partner, who is also a model. So is paid for her looks, and her body image was just shredded by this. So it doesn't matter, but I think that could be a useful, that this is everybody, and it never is about, it wasn't about her, and I'm sorry that she's hurt and she's not alone. So so maybe check that one out. That might be useful.
I think so.
Okay. Betrayed partner essay not in recovery after 33 years. Please clarify. An addict must have resolved their shame issues before attempting helping partners grieving.
I'm so glad you brought that up again. You're right. Usually I bring that up all the time when I'm talking about this. Whenever we're talking about the betrayed partner opening up to, like giving some sort of entry in for the betrayed partner, the betrayer, that betrayer has to be doing their work. They have to be very committed to recovery. And if that's the case, and you're saying here he is, he's not in recovery after 33 years, then I don't, and I'm reading this right. Am I, Tammy? Right?
I,
It,
I, yes,
that,
I believe you are. After 33 years, not in recovery,
right.
and
Then no, if I'm you, I'm like this. I'm not letting him in anywhere near me at that point. Betrayers have to earn the right to get back in. They have to earn that, and they earn that through the work they do, through the change of the heart, through the commitment to make you feel safe. And they're not doing that, then you know what? We speak about that in great lengths in the book for the betrayed partner, going deeper for the betrayed partner. Talk about it in great length that if this only works if the betrayer has done the work needed and has made the transformation.
yeah, yeah. I was gonna. You're still in. If he's in active addiction, there's like you're gonna still keep grieving. So I'm gonna share, and there's another one down there that
Okay.
I'm also going to share about because we're going to run out of time, I know, but there's a betrayed partner work group starting March 4th, and separately there's the boundaries work group for partners. Internal boundaries. I'm not going to sacrifice myself for this. He can't help you grieve. Like you and your tribe get other betrayed partners. They can
Hmm.
help you grieve the relationship that you don't have. You can stay with them, and I put the link for the stuff about should I stay or should I. You get to pick. Like there's no judgment on that. But if you're staying with an active addict, you cannot expect him to show up for you in any way, shape, or form to help you grieve. He's going to be off doing his own thing. So,
Yeah.
but that betrayed partner work group for boundaries will start April 2nd, I believe. I'm going to find the link in just a moment. Okay, I'm the betrayer, still trying to behave my way back into the house with my wife and two college-age kids. I am working on 4 fronts: sex addiction, 1+ year sober, dishonesty, passive aggressive anger, and attachment avoidance disorder. Please share with me what tools that I can use to allow people closer to me and my genuine self. I do not feel like I love myself like at all. That has to be an issue, right?
Well, that is definitely an issue. If you're not feeling good about yourself, which again, that means there's a lot of shame that's there, okay? Then how are you going to be able to let other people in closer to you? You're not. You have to dig down deeper, right? Go deeper to find out what is at the heart of that. Why is it that you struggle to feel good about yourself? Okay. And my guess is there are childhood pain points that have left you with a litany of different negative narratives that you believe. Those have to be exposed and they have to be removed and replaced with things that are genuine. Like you said, the genuine self. Until you do that, it's going to be very, very difficult for you to be able to let people get closer to you. Now, I think, like you said, you're still trying to behave my way back into the house with your wife and kids. You know, behave is one thing. Okay, that's about okay, my actions, what I do here. But there's the other part, and that's about the emotional connection and such. So therefore, if I'm you, I'm looking at, and I think we have another one that starts in May, a group. They're going deeper um, for the sex addict. I would look to get into that group because I think that would help you a great deal to be uncover exactly what is going on. We started a group, I think we're in week 3. Tammy, I tell you, I am blown away by these guys. I mean, I've never seen them with so much insight so
Great.
quickly, all of them. And we have people in tears the other day. It's just,
Oh,
it's good.
probably you too.
Yeah, good stuff.
Well, and so as a person who loves her 12-step programs, if you're doing your 10th step every day, hopefully you've been through all of the steps, but if you're doing your 10th step every day, as part of your inventory, are you also acknowledging the pieces of you that are esteemable, that are lovable? When I was in treatment, my therapist made me look in the mirror and say, I like you, I love you. It was painful, but you know what? I was like, I had to practice that because I didn't feel it, and I learned, like, I'm not perfect. I am who I am, and I work on striving to be better every day. But I would encourage you, as part of your 10th step every day, to acknowledge the things where you need to make amends, but also identify the things that are esteemable. On the fourth step, we talk about, our searching and fearless moral inventory. It isn't just the crap that
Yeah.
we did. It's absolutely the good things too. We have got to look at a balanced sheet. We can't just, go off into everything I did is horrible. No, we aren't. We're far more complex than that. So,
Yeah.
okay. Thank you, Dr. Eddie, for saying that. I never thought of it like that. They never get a chance to love again. A whole new perspective. It still feels like a stupid girl syndrome at times. And
Oh
we
yeah,
hear that.
it's not the stupid girl syndrome not playing out like that. I'm so ecstatic that you're now just even thinking that, ooh, maybe there's a different way. I mean, if you do open up to say, yeah, let me try to give him that, yeah, you've made my year, okay? Because that is what we're trying here to do. But again, we only do it with someone who demonstrates that they are safe and committed. And yes, it's not the stupid girl syndrome, it's just the fear. Your little girl is still fearful. And that doesn't mean that you can't open up somewhat and allow little increments. Okay, you don't have to say, okay, here it is, come on. No, you don't. You could do it in small steps. And again, let him continue to earn that. Let him continue to demonstrate consistency. But I hope that happens. Please make sure you keep us informed of
Yeah.
what's going on.
Well, and then you're both practicing because you're practicing. I'm going to give him a little more room, and he's got the opportunity to step into that space. And, if it works, great, then you can do it again, But yeah, I'm with Dr. You don't go, yes, blanket. I'm going to trust you 100%. No, So it's incremental. It's practicing different things. You guys haven't done that before. So you're
Mhm.
not going to do it perfectly, and it's okay.
Right. Mm.
My spouse can be sometimes very rude in his speaking to me, just in general. How can I address this? Because he does not seem to get it when I say it.
Okay, so there's several things there. One, the word sometimes, which means that he's not rude to you all the time when he speaks. It's sometimes. So therefore, it becomes in those circumstances, okay, when he's rude, what you should be doing at that point is just stop. You know what? The way you're talking to me is extremely disappointing, okay? And I'm not gonna sit here and listen to it and walk away. And then when he comes back, which I assume he will come back to say, I'm sorry, then say, okay, it's good that you're sorry, but we go through this all the time. We really need to understand what has gone on during those times when you become rude. Because something's happened. He's being triggered by something. I don't know what that, remember, like I said, Tammy, earlier, I said, I have a topic. It's about,
I already emailed you to remind you.
that is he triggered? That is going to be, I'm going to have people going off the rails. But this is one of those. He is triggered by something, and you're the lightning rod, and that's not fair. He has to understand what is it that's triggering him, so that for then having that knowledge, he can now say, "Ooh, wait a second, this is not a good time to be talking to her." Or as I talk to her, I have to be very cautious about how I communicate. But right now, in the future, and when he does that again, you stop, conversation's over. What you're doing is just unacceptable, and I am very disappointed, and walk away. And then when he comes back, you know what? I'm sorry. No, sorry. You know what? I appreciate you being sorry, but this isn't good enough. We need to get to the heart of it. And that's where he and his counselor need to understand. And therefore, he should go back and start to look at what was going on just prior, because somebody else is in the room. Somebody from his past is in the room. and you're the one getting the light in the rod. So that's what I would do. I
And
got
my
a
only twist to that would be like when you're not in that, this has been and saying, this has been happening and I'm not okay with it. And so this for my, and I put 4-part talking boundary. So when it happens again, and it will, this is what I'm going to do. So you've been preemptive. You've said that, I'm going to stand up for me. I'm going to take a time out. I'm not abandoning you, but I'm going to go. And because he may not apologize. If you come back together, he may not apologize. He may rail on you, like, so
yeah,
just if you
do the
if
same thing
you
again.
yes, exactly. And so, but and I don't want to keep doing the same thing that isn't working for us. So either of those, whatever feels more authentic for you, but yes, addressing it and not standing there taking whatever it is. And Dr. Eddie will talk about this because I know him, but just because I'm triggered doesn't mean it's an excuse for me to act out. It's information for me to go. Something's going on. I need to attend to that. So so hear clearly that if he's triggered, that is not an excuse that he can use, in our
Yeah,
reality to be unkind.
yeah.
Okay. We are 13 months since D-Day. With full disclosure, a men's polygraph. We are working independently in therapy as well as couples therapy. She is in deep grief state with deep sadness over her losses caused by me. How do I support her when she doesn't know what she needs are at that
Go
time?
back, go back to the beginning of this, webinar and follow those steps that I outlined right there. Okay. Stay on the pain field. Find her real pain point. Don't make it about you. Stay there with her. Go back, listen to it again, and then also I have an article. I think it's on Seeking Integrity site about the pain field. So go there, find it, and read it, and that'll outline everything for you what you need to do.
Yes, and he's got previously recorded webinars. This webinar will be posted, if not today, by tomorrow. So it will be on our website, so you can go back and you can even push pause and listen to it a couple times, take notes, think about it. Okay, during some of our first therapy sessions, we spent time identifying my and my husband's attachment style. This was new to me. The therapist said I was securely attached, but my husband was disorganized. When I
Mhm.
always recognized severely unhealthy patterns in his family of origin, and all his siblings have either substance or behavior disorder, he did not realize anything was wrong. He also believed that he came from a wonderful family, and we hear this often, but cannot really remember anything about his childhood. How is he supposed to deal with his past and identify ways that his behaviors became maladaptive if he
You
can't
know,
even remember anything?
I'm sitting here and I'm smiling
Hmm.
because I'm saying, you know what? Welcome to my world.
Yeah.
Okay, what you just laid out here is not uncommon. That they don't, but you know why? They were raised in chaos, and it's normal. It's just normal. It's the way it is, and so therefore they don't really see a whole lot that's wrong with it, and they're judging their childhood when they say, "Oh no, I came from a wonderful family," because maybe they had a dad who did things with them, maybe they had a mom who took care of the house and cleaned, but what they didn't have was the emotional component. Nobody shared with them and talked to them about how to be an emotional being. He has that disorganized attachment, okay? So therefore he can cling because he wants to bring somebody in. You get too close, he's going to push you away. Then you get too far, he brings you back in. It's back and forth. He understanding, and it'll hit him, but he needs to be talking to his therapist. They probably should be doing the going deeper work, and therefore going through and looking at those 12 children, he will see things in there. Say, wow, you know what? Yeah, that did happen. This did happen. That did happen. I can't tell you how many guys I've worked with, and after 6 months, 8 months, a year, and they come back and one day and they just sit there and say, yeah, you know what? I can't believe I thought I had an amazing childhood. It was okay, but it there were problems. So that's what I would be doing. I'd have them
Yeah.
start doing some of that work.
And we get lots of guys in residential treatment who, oh yeah, my childhood was ideal or whatever. Like you can't see because all kids normalize all of those things. So, and that's the deeper work. So right now, I hope he's really working on getting a solid foundation of recovery because all of that stuff is we'll take some, oh my goodness, I have to, address these really painful things. So you want to make sure you're in a solid recovery place and have support, for maintaining that sobriety.
Mhm.
Okay, next one. And I put, Dr. Eddie's going deeper, for inner child and the attachment wounds that Troy love. I love when the guys take both of those. It's such a comprehensive, and it's the different ways of looking at very similar stuff, but it's just really good. So consider both of those.
Let's jump to Danny Beeve just for a second, because I can
Yes,
answer
and I put it in the
30
chat too. So
seconds.
I heard Eddie referred to inner child therapy for sex addiction. Is that the same as IFS, which is internal family systems
Yeah,
therapy?
no, it's
So
not the same, and the reason it's not the same is because, well, when I did this, I wasn't even thinking about IFS. I didn't really know a whole lot about it. I'd heard about it in my graduate program, but didn't really study it. I take out the middleman. Okay, I take out we're looking at the exile. We're looking at which is the inner child. That's what we're looking at. But we don't need the managers. We don't need the fighter fighters. I don't need you to get through those. We're going here. I lay out the 12 what I believe are the most common pain points that people experience when they're growing up. So what I do is I cut through. I made a shortcut on that road. Okay, to say here, go here, versus going around that way. So it's trying to do the same thing. I just think mine is one that just makes it a lot easier for both the client and the therapist to implement. I love it. I love IFS. I think it's great, a great program. So
and we have a drop-in group for separate for partners and separate for addicts that's comes from the IFS view too. So
right,
okay, what are steps to heal from the pain field? It's been years since his betrayal, and I'm still triggered around women who are dressed seductively.
right. Okay. So this the pain field and what I created and what that served for is for the betrayer. Okay, what the betrayer should do to be able to stay there. For you, what you might want to be looking at is, again, going back to the work that Terry and I did, which Tammy was very involved in helping, which is going deeper for the betrayed partner so that you could better understand, are there other factors involved that are leading you to get triggered around these women, that you're still seeing them as threats? And that's what that work is about. So that's where I would suggest perhaps maybe look there.
Well, and you've done two webinars on pain field too. So I put the link for previously recorded webinars. Go look for Dr. Eddie stuff. I refer to his many times. So you can't go wrong if you're looking to one of his previous options
Right,
too.
right. I'm sorry we can't get through the rest of these questions. We will do them. Maybe next time we'll do some of these questions.
I'm going to try to capture them. We're going to be out of time. So I'm going to try, and we never really get to those because we've got some from April of last year. So no guarantee. Come back and ask questions. How's
Right, the
that?
next Going Deeper seminar, you can find the information on the Seeking Integrity website.
And I did post the link in the chat. So